Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, in this video lecture, I am going to discuss some MCQs and short questions related to formal and informal fallacies. So let us start. Define fallacy. A fallacy is a mistake in the process of reasoning. It is always incorrect logically. A fallacy is an argument that is invalid. We think causes fallacious reasonings, mistaken beliefs, unsound argument, lack of knowledge, refutation. You must have to remember one thing here. You must prepare some sentences when you are going to write answer of the questions like as mistaken belief is a cause of fallacious reasoning, like as that. Name types of fallacies. Fallacies are of two types: formal fallacies, informal fallacies. Define informal fallacies with example. An informal fallacy refers to the argument that are logically unsound due to the lack of well-grounded premises. For example, the sun was exploded for all its existence, therefore the sun will not explode tomorrow. How many types of informal fallacies? Write names. There are two types of informal fallacies which are given below: fallacies of presumption, fallacies of ambiguity. Define fallacy of presumption with example. Acceptance of truth without any evidence causes fallacious reasoning. For example, are you going to admit that you are wrong? Answering yes, then it will prove that you are wrong, and no implies that you accept you are wrong but would not admit it. Define hasty generalization and sweeping generalization fallacy. Hasty generalization fallacy. This fallacy based on only one unusual example to reach the conclusion. For example, Hitler was a vegetarian, so I don't trust any vegetarian. Sweeping generalization fallacy. This fallacy includes broad applications of a premise. It is reverse of hasty generalization fallacy. For example, running is the best way to keep fit. Therefore, everyone should run a mile. Define slippery slope fallacy with example. This fallacy assumes the consequence of action in advance. For example, if we let your brother stay, then we will have let your whole family starve. Define the cocoa fallacy. The cocoa is a Latin for you too. It implies the concept of looking who is talking. It is used to criticize against other people. For example, so what if I did cheating? You did it too. Define appeal to ignorance with example. This fallacy argues for ignorance. This fallacy arguing that propositions are true because it has not yet been proved false. This fallacy is abound in daily conversation, advertising, politics, and history. For example, I believe that dollar pens are best to write with because its packing bears it. Define fallacy of ambiguity. Fallacy of ambiguity caused by the lack of the clarity and misunderstanding of the words. Such fallacies may include define accent fallacy and bandwagon fallacy with examples. Accent fallacy. This fallacy is based on the stress or emphasis of words or parts of the statement. For example, stress on the word yesterday in the sentence I did, I did not took the test yesterday may have meaning such as someone else took the test and I took the test on another day. Bandwagon fallacy. This fallacy contains the arguments that are appealing because of current trend and growing popularity. For example, more people are turning to meditation to help them to cope with the stress of modern day living. Therefore, meditation makes us all calmers. Define gambler's fallacy and genetic fallacy. Gambler's fallacy. This fallacy assumes that the short-term deviation will get corrected automatically. For example, this coin has landed heads up 9 times continuously, so it will probably land tail up next time if tossed. Genetic fallacy. This fallacy refers to the acceptance or rejection of concepts based on the source, not on their merits. For example, my best friend says that you are a liar, so I am not going to talk to you. Define strawman fallacy. This fallacy occurs when the speaker appears to refute the argument that is presented, but in reality, the speaker refutes the argument that is not presented. For example, President Obama has not truly American interest in mind because he is not truly American but Muslim. Define appeal to authority and popular opinion. This fallacy refers to the attachment of the argument of the people of the authority to credence his argument instead of focusing on the merits of the arguments. For example, well, Isaac Newton believed in alchemy. Do you think you know more than Isaac Newton? Appeal to a popular opinion. This fallacy happens when someone claims the idea or belief is true simply because it is so what people believe. For example, thousands of people bought this album, so it must be good. Define weak analogy with example. This fallacy uses analogy between things that are really alike. For example, car kills people just like gun. Therefore, if you are not going to ban the sale of cars, you cannot ban the sale of gun. Define post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy. The above term means after this, therefore, because of this. It is based upon assumption of cause and effect relationship. For example, I saw a magpie and then I crashed my car. Therefore, magpies are a symbol of bad luck. But you people may write here instead of magpie, you people can use black cat. I saw a black cat and then I crashed my car. Therefore, black cats are symbol of bad luck. Define formal fallacy. Formal fallacies are deductive in nature. These fallacies occur when the conclusion does not follow the premise. A formal fallacy reflects an error in the form of argument. In these fallacies, the pattern of reasoning seems logical but is always wrong. For example, There cannot be life on the other planets because we have never detected any. In which types of formal fallacy is divide? Write its names. Formal fallacy are divided into the following types: bad reason fallacy, appeal to probability, mass man fallacy, non sequitur fallacy of quantitative logic. Define bad reason fallacy with example. This fallacy is also known as argumentum ad logicam. In this type of fallacy, the conclusion is assumed to be bad if the argument is bad. For example, the new employee is too quiet and has no sense of style. We should dismiss him. What is the underlying point of bad reason fallacy? If the argument is bad, then the conclusion is also bad. Define appeal to probability with example. It refers to a statement which takes something for granted because it is probable or possible. For example, I see a dark cloud on the horizon. Dark clouds mean rain. It is going to rain here today. Define mass man fallacy with example. This fallacy refers to the illicit substitution of identical in a statement that leads it to a false. For example, I know who Ali is. I don't know who the masked man is. The masked man is not Ali. Define non sequitur. A fallacy wherein someone asserts a conclusion that does not follow from the prepositions. For example, all Sayyids are from Arab. Munzar is not a Sayyid, therefore he is not from Arab. Write unique feature of formal fallacies. Formal fallacies are deductive in nature, have fault in their structure, and formal falsities are types of non sequitur. Which credit a person achieves while avoiding fallacies? A person achieves when avoiding fallacies, the credit is personal dignity, personal respect, personal trust, sense of responsibility. What is the pattern of deductive argumentation? There are following points of deductive argumentation: major premises, minor premises, conclusion. Define fallacy of quantitative logic with example. Fallacies of quantitative logic revolve around the grammatical structure of proposition. The focus is to use some sort of quantifying words such as all or some. Consider the following example. All philosophers are wise. We can find a flaw in the above statement by simply finding the counterexample. All the philosophers are not wise. Since the fact of being wise is abstract, how we truly know someone is wise or not? So, how the statement is changed? Using some quantifying words. Some philosophers are wise. This statement is comparatively stronger because it allows for the possibility of some counter examples. However, the problem arises with the quantifiers that the exact quantity of wise philosopher is not known. We must infer from this statement that some philosophers are wise. Name some quantifying words. There are following quantifying words which are given below: all, some, many, majority, a few. Which two problems lie with the fallacy of quantitative reasoning? The true problems lie with the fallacy of quantitative reasoning is problem of quantification, and the second one is problem of abstraction. Now here we are discussing the MCQs, but I am not going to read it. You must have to read by yourself. I just play in front of you. Now here we are going to discuss informal fallacies MCQs. Remember, informal fallacies MCQs are totally opposite to the formal fallacies. Thank you so much.